Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. I've been working with some rocks again, just for a set, and so there's a few little tips that I thought I'd pass on to you. So let's look at them. In my attic I have a whole pile of sheets of paper mache rocks of varying qualities. And they're very good for throwing a rock or a cave set together very quickly. I'm finding that with repeated use, the panels have a tendency to start tearing along the edges. So, with sets that are semi-permanent or permanent, where I'm having to assemble them quite frequently, it's a good idea to put a piece of string along the border, right around the border of the panel, so that will give it extra strength so that it resists the tearing. It means that you can define the shape of your panel, and you can put in securing or anchoring points so that when you go to assemble the scenery again, your panels go into the position in exactly the same place without tearing and ripping the borders. Now, if you're concerned about getting more strength into your panel, you can stick a piece of string along the surface of the back side of your rock just to give it more strength, so that when you're assembling your scenery again, there's no possibility really that it's going to fracture and rip and tear, and then you're going to have a major repair job right in the middle of a busy schedule. If the set is going to be permanent or semi-permanent, then you will need some sort of structure to give it more strength, like these broom handles here. And you're going to paper mache, obviously, with paper around it, but it's got to be reasonably thick, which adds weight to it, because it tends with manipulation to rip and tear a little bit. So you've got to be reasonably diligent about that, or you can add some extra strengthening. You have your broomstick, and I take a piece of wire, bend it over to turn it into a needle, because I'm going to thread that needle with a piece of string, poke it through the paper, come back, and then tie that off. And by doing that with a nice chunk of paper under there, it's going to add better strength to that joint. A series of those on the back helps you get started a lot quicker with the paper maching, and it doesn't fall to pieces, it holds it rigid. And on the front side, just paper mache over that and paint it. I found that when I was doing a major joint where there's a lot of stress on the joint, it was very difficult to get it started because of the stresses of it pulling apart. The soft, wet paper tends to tear before it gets dried, so it becomes quite a deal to try and get it together. So an answer to that, to give it more strength, is with your needle and thread, is go in quite a bit, poke a hole, and literally stitch the joint together in this sort of fashion, and that will hold the joint together. Do several of them stitched together, and that will give a lot of strength while the paper is drying, and also it will add strength to the structure so that it won't come apart and rip and tear when you're moving the set around. So here is an example of a major remodeling here. I had cut that, joined it together, and there's a lot of stress there, so I stitch it together in various places to hold it together while it dries. So it's a lot stronger in the long run, and it's also quicker to do the remodeling by stitching it and then covering it over, and you don't even notice the difference. So there we are, a few tips to make your permanent or semi-permanent set a lot stronger.